Hello, welcome back to a very uncommon, extremely rare Monday night stream from me. Um, I'm not expecting a whole lot of folks here, but I need to get this printer up and running ASAP because it's coming with me this weekend. So that's why we're not waiting for next week's stream. So anyway, I'm gonna dig right in. If you missed it last time, I'm rebuilding this printer. This is my Ender 3 I bought about 3 years ago. It's been the foundation for all the 3D printing projects on this channel. The original test benches that I prototyped way back, I prototyped on this machine. It's been a real workhorse for me, and since I got my Bamboo Lab, it's been pretty much doing nothing, just sitting under this desk, waiting to be rebuilt. And that's what's happening. Well, it was supposed to happen on Saturday. It's happening today instead. Saturday, tried to do this, and Comcast said, no, you're not streaming today. In fact, your internet's going to be down for 2.5 hours. It was about, their initial prediction of 2.5 hours, pretty much right on. It was a little bit under 2.5 hours that the internet was down before. And that's my whole apartment internet was down completely for 2.5 hours or so. It was really annoying. What else is going on? Sunday, I was playing around with another Mac that came into the shop. I'll show that to you right now. That was, I mentioned it briefly in the text chat if you'd hung out in the text chat on the side over there. We did, and I did chat with some folks while we waited for the internet to come back. Never ended up coming back. But I mentioned picking up, there we go, a Power Mac 8500 120, and it turns out it works just fine. Totally bonkers that it works just fine. But also, right now I'm copying some stuff off of the Global Talk file shares. But also, it's not stock. It's not stock at all. Stock was 16 megs of RAM. Someone at some point threw in 2 additional DIMMs to give it a total of 80 megs of RAM. Apparently, these can handle up to a gig if you have 128 meg DIMMs, which is wild. Can you imagine? So a little story on the 8500, right? So this thing launched in August of 95. August 1995. Can you imagine having a gig of RAM in 1995? Like, if you had a PC, if you were lucky enough to have an early Pentium, I think by 95 maybe a Socket 5 Pentium, you'd be well off if you had 16 megabytes of RAM. Can you imagine having a gig of RAM? The fun part about this particular machine is the 8500, the 8600, the 9500, and 9600 all share kind of a similar architecture. The 95 and 9600 use the Tsunami architecture, and the 8500, I don't know about the 8600, but the 8500 uses a motherboard called TNT, but it uses the same processor upgrade card slot as Tsunami. Which is why you might notice over here that it's not running a 120 megahertz PowerPC 604. It's running a 233 megahertz 604E. Yeah, at some point in this thing's life, it got upgraded quite a bit. That's more than twice as fast. The 604E added a better dispatch unit so that it could actually dispatch to all 6 execution units inside the core. 604 is a really interesting processor. I spent pretty much all Sunday digging through technical manuals on it. It's similar to a Pentium in that it's an in-order processor, so if a pipeline stalls, the whole processor stalls. But it can simultaneously execute up to 3 integer instructions at a time, so it's got a complex integer unit and a simple integer unit, just like the Pentium. But then it also has another simple integer unit, and then it's got a separate floating point unit that's only 3 stages. I think the Pentium's was 8 stages in its FPU pipeline. So it's a fast processor. The benchmarks ended up putting it somewhere around like 25 to 75% faster than an equivalently clocked Pentium, depending on the benchmark. 75% obviously being if you were running mostly integer code, you could really trounce the Pentium. But then, of course, the G3 was what replaced all of these old 604s and 604Es with out-of-order execution. Even though it couldn't dispatch quite as many instructions per clock, it was out of order. So it could guarantee filling its pipelines completely the entire way through. Anyway, this is a pretty cool addition. I did not expect this thing to start out, so I bought it on eBay. For parts, seller said it chimed but had no video. I disassembled the whole thing. It's the worst, one of the worst cases I've ever worked with. I knew these were bad from back in the day. Like, there were complaints about these things early on when the Quadra 800 had this case. It was not a well-loved case. Let me turn this camera around and I'll show you what I mean. So you have a visual for this thing other than just the capture stream here. We'll get to the printer in a second, I swear. But that's this bad boy right here. Look at that. That's 8500 120, except it's running a 233 604E. I may have also managed to dig up a G3 upgrade card for it on eBay for pretty cheap, and I found its original processor card as well, which is important because I want to see how the thing is at stock speeds. I've never used a 604 based machine before now. It's fast. Spoiler, it's fast. When you have an operating system that's designed to run on 386s, essentially, throwing a Pentium at it makes it very quick. Throwing a beefed up Pentium at it makes it very fast. So anyway, that's this thing. It's doing its thing right now. I'll have more on it later, at some point after I get back from my vacation this weekend. So anyway, let's switch over to the desk cam, because the point on this one is this printer. We've got folks in the chat. Hello. I'll say hi before we get started. Yeah, Jack 68K says, don't breathe on the plastic. Yeah, I have a baggie full of all the broken bits. It's a significant amount of broken bits. It's in worse shape than my in worse shape than my 7200 was when I got it, and that was in really bad shape. Not decasing this one though. It's a little more space efficient as a mini tower than the 7200 was as a desktop. Who have we got here? We've got Jack68K was here early. Trina's Technobabbles here. Hello, Trina. Clark John 1 Plus is here. Hello. Trina says hello, aka mirror me. Just because you never see us in the same room doesn't mean that we're the same person. Or does it? Gutbomb is here. Hello, welcome to the stream. Gutbomb says 8500. Wait, is that a clone? It's not, but as far as I can figure, so I had a good look over the CPU card, right? Because like that speed processor didn't go into a lot of Macintoshes. Like there was one 9600 model that had a 233 604E, and that was it. But there were several clones that got them. Several clones got the 604E 233, and yeah, it's there's no Apple markings on that CPU card, none whatsoever. There should be if it was an Apple card shipped with this machine. There are several places where there should be, depending on the year of manufacture, several places where there should be an Apple logo or, a copyright string for Apple Computer. There aren't any. There's one spot where it would be, and it's been very, very specifically epoxied over. And it was epoxied over in the factory before they put the FCC sticker on it. So I don't know. We know, we know that Apple was producing the Tsunami motherboards for the clone manufacturers. Maybe they were producing CPU cards for them as well. Who knows? I don't know. It ain't me. I don't know. But my best guess is that this specific card, came out of probably a UMax SuperMac S900 or J700. They both used Tsunami boards. They were both 604Es at 233, and they were reasonably popular, I remember. Reasonably popular. Like the power computing, power centers and power curves and power towers were really popular clones. But the UMax machines were generally, from what I remember, generally liked. And that's the only thing I can imagine it came from. Because power computing used all 40 and 50 megahertz 604s in their machines. So they were either like, 200 megahertz, 250 megahertz, 225, 275, or 240, 180. Not 233. They didn't use the 33 megahertz versions. They used the faster bus speeds. So, and no, the bus speed on this never goes to 66. It's 33, 40, or 50 megahertz. That's as fast as it goes. So yeah, it's an interesting machine, and I'm really chuffed that it works. I was not expecting it to just fire right up. Like I said, I pulled the motherboard, I reseated all of the DIMMs in it, the four RAM DIMMs, the cache SIM card. So it's got 256K of cache on a removable card. Apparently this can handle up to a meg of level 2 cache, which would be wild. And then I also reseated the VRAM SIMs that are in this thing. DIMMs? SIMs? I don't know. But yeah, no, dude, reseated it all, plugged it all back in, and it just fired right up. I don't know what this eBay seller did to try and test it, but I have a sneaking suspicion, because the 8500 was the continuation of the AV Max, right? Like the 840 AV and the 8100 AV. The 8500 got a bunch of AV ports on the back of it for video capture, for composite video capture and composite video out. And I'm guessing they plugged something into one of the composite outports, which doesn't do anything unless you've got software on the machine that turns it on, right? Like, the composite output doesn't mirror the display by default. So I can only imagine that that's what they did, and that's how they got to a chimes no video conclusion. Because this thing seems perfect. There's no cap leakage on the board. The board's pristine. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, expect a video on this one at some point. I need to track down some bezels, some 3D prints for bezels for it. Because it's missing that one middle bezel. It looks real sad without the middle bezel. And you know what? I haven't tested the floppy drive. Should we see if we can break a floppy disk in here real quick before we get started on the printer? I think we should. Let's do something completely irrelevant. RAM doubler. Who cares about RAM doubler, huh? It's definitely not virtual memory. It's doing magic. It's not virtual memory. Let's see if it works. That sounds very non-functional. Absolutely nothing going on. I'm pretty sure I plugged the floppy cable back in when I put this thing back together, but I don't hear a thing. I did hear it whir when I first plugged the disc in. Maybe that was just a spring resonating. Yep, it's not working. That floppy drive's dead as a doornail. Cool. It's got an Apple CD 600i in it, so that's the 4X CD-ROM. But the bezel that's on the front of it is for a caddy loader, but it's a tray loader. It's a tray loader CD-ROM drive, but it's got the wrong bezel on the front of the machine. I was having some booting problems with it. I was having problems getting into macOS with it for a while, and I realized that it was the CD-ROM drive. It's not entirely functional, but I was able to get it to eject this wonderful CD-ROM that was in there that read once in my testing and then never read again. That is IBM brings you Crayola Paint and Play Pony. I'll throw this in a disk imager software and get an image of it. I don't think there's a copy of that. Maybe there is a copy of this on a Macintosh Garden. Who knows? It's valuable software to be preserved. We need the Paint and Play Pony. Oh. Jack68K says there's a printer too. No, there's no printer, thankfully. God, I'm not doing a printer. Oh, you mean this one? The one right here? Yeah, this one, yeah. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Not this Mac. We're not supposed to be looking at this Mac. Alright, I'm gonna close this out so we stop looking at it. Alright, scene switch and desk cam. There we go. See my fat arm there. Okay, so we've got... So I've moved a little bit of stuff since you last saw it. I did mount the spider hotend where it is supposed to go, its final resting place. And when I did that, I did a fitment test on this original Satsana V2 remix that I found all those years ago. It was like 1 year ago. It does not quite fit on this, with this hotend here. It's not quite tall enough, so the ducts don't quite blow in the right place. They'd be very effective at cooling the heat block, which you don't want. And it's also not quite thick enough here. This cavity isn't quite large enough, so it knocks on the hot end. So I found this. This is a remix of a cooling duct made by Whistleblower on Thingiverse. This is a single 5015 version. So we're going to reduce this thing down to one 5015 blower. But that 5015 goes right in there, like that. It's a pretty neat design, actually. You've got two ducts there for cooling. One of them goes underneath the bottom, right through this front piece here, and then comes out the other side. It's not a bad design. Then it also, because it's one 5015 instead of two, you've got a spot for a BL Touch upgrade in the future, which, I don't know, maybe the kiddo will want that. If you missed Saturday's stream, this printer is going to a friend of mine, because I'm going on vacation this weekend, and I'm heading up there, and I'm going to give him this printer so he can give it to his kiddo. But yeah, that'll mount up like that, and should work pretty well. So, running through the list of things that need to be done to this machine, we've got the new hot end fitted. So we're scrapping the Mark 8, the standard Creality hot end, and moving to the Spider. This is the... Where did I put the box for this? Here it is. This is the Creality Spider V2. Of course, who cares about the empty box, but that's the box it came in. It is an all-metal hot end, which is nice, so we get away from having the PTFE tube running all the way down to the heat block. Should have a little bit more heating zone, so it should be able to go a little faster. Should also be able to handle more interesting materials, although, being an uncovered printer, like, what are you really going to print with this thing? I don't know. It's not for me to decide. It's not my printer anymore. But I wanted to give the kiddo some options. Oh, so, stuff that's going to happen. I'm going to throw in a fresh PTFE tube onto this pack of PTFE tubes. I think I'll just use the standard white kind because we don't need the high temperature resistance now since we have an all metal hot end. And then some fresh a fresh pneumatic connector up here on the extruder. You can see the extruder is already not stock. That's been that way for several months. What else? This is a replacement fan cable for the hot end cooling fan. That's this guy here. because this cable has sheared somewhere inside the cable. I'm guessing probably right about here, where there's a stress point. As this moves back and forth, this cable has to bend around a corner, and it bends and unbends as it moves back and forth on the x-axis. So I'm replacing that, assuming there's going to be some soldering that goes on there. I'll be removing one of the 5015s since we're going to a single 5015 blower. These are the wrong silicone socks, but we've got replacement nozzles, like tons and tons of replacement nozzles for this thing. So yeah, it should be fairly straightforward. Should be fairly straightforward. So let's do it. I think the worst part, honestly, is going to be these drag chains. So if you haven't seen it, you can sort of see it there. You can definitely see it here. I did a drag chain mod on this. So I bundled up all the cables inside these 3D printed drag chains, which have been great, but they're a real pain to work with. They take a long time to, you know, to undo. So each one of these, can't see that, that's annoying. Can you see that? Yes, you can. So each one of these little bridgey things on here, if you can hear that, snaps in, and that's how you get access to the cables inside the drag chain. So I have to unsnap all of these on both drag chains in order to pull these wires out and rerun them. And that's going to be the longest part, honestly. I might do that part off screen, honestly, because that's kind of tedious. I don't think anybody wants to see that. We plugged it in on Saturday to make sure it still works. It does still work. I've got some assorted goodies here for the hot end, because the new hot end, the other reason I need to change the fan shroud is that the new hot end accepts all of its electronics, the heater cartridge and the thermistor, on the opposite side of the original Mark 8. So we've got to run these cables around the other side rather than the right side. We're running on the right side, now they have to be run on the left side. Okay, so let's get started, I guess. Got some cheap thermal paste for that. Let's see. Don't remember where I left off on Saturday. That's great. I think number one is to unbundle these cables from the zip ties. So I can get at them. To be very careful not to break this thermistor wire, because I don't think I have replacement thermistors. That was an oversight on my part. So you can see I've got all of these wires that come through here. And I'm going to have to pull these out of this drag chain, just like one piece at a time. Super annoying. Let's see, if I use this, it might go a little faster. That's not faster. Oh boy. It's a cool idea. It's a super cool idea. And then I started installing the drag chain. I'm like, this is a terrible idea. And like the Ender 3 previously used, you know, just a bundle of wires in a sleeve, and that's something I could go back to. I don't know. I don't feel like it's a great solution. Like, there's a reason I picked these drag chains, you know, for this cable management, because the cable management in this printer is pretty bad. You know, stock out of the box. So these are just, and the That lead screw is very dirty. But these are just print in place. Well, not print in place, but these are just you just print these face down on the build plate like this, and then they snap together. I can put the link to the model for these in the video's description if you want. I think you'd be crazy to try them. They're really awful. I mean, they work well, but they're a real pain to put together. So that gives us access to this zip tie and this plug. All right, for the fan. Okay, do I have any? I do. Don't have any USBs around here, really? I have a USB on camera. All right. So these little things are really, really helpful. These are USB to fan connector converters. And this is actually, this little box, the important part is that this little box is a little buck converter that takes the 5 volts from USB, it turns it into 12 volts for a fan. It doesn't give it a lot of, you don't get a lot of amperage out of that because you've got, inefficiencies in the buck converter. But hopefully, my hope is you can plug this together and then plug this into some USB and figure out what part of this cable, because this cable I'm pretty sure is the one that's sheared inside. I'll figure out where exactly it's sheared, and that's where I'll have to solder. So if I plug this in over here. All right, so we've got a spinning fan. Oh no! Oh no! I plugged something into my USB. Let's see if I can get this camera back. Yes, I can. Okay. The USB on my computer is very good. Has no problems at all. So we've got a spinning fan, but I'm guessing if I move this cable around, to be able to maybe it's not this cable. That would actually make things really easy. Yeah, I don't think it's this cable. I think it's the feed cable here that's broken. That's actually great, because that's super easy to replace. I don't have to do any soldering for that. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Alright, what do we got in the chat? Hey, Ron is here from Ron's Computer Videos. Hello, Ron. See, Ron is here. Jack68K says, I've loved that the Power Mac 85-9500s have upgradable CPU daughter cards, because I have a mini collection of just those CPU cards. Yeah, it's kind of cool, isn't it? It's kind of funny. Like, the 604 was around and it was so fast. It was such a desirable processor for like 2 years. And then, the G4 or the G3 came out, and suddenly, who cares? Toss your 604 card, throw a G3 in your 8500, 8600, whatever. But like, I was talking about this with somebody else, and we came to the conclusion that like if the Pentium 2 and Pentium 3 had shipped on packaging that was compatible with socket 7, right? Like probably the same thing would have happened with the original Pentium. Nobody would have cared. Just toss it, put in a Pentium 3. Just imagine if you could just throw a Pentium 3 onto your socket 7 board. Interesting. Jack68K says, I have power computing CPU daughter cards that are power computing branded. That's interesting. And Jack68K says, I fear we're going to be recapping these boards in a few years and there are a bazillion caps. The TNT's not too bad, the 8500. It's got maybe a dozen or 16, regular 1647s on it. So far, they're holding up, but yeah, I think I'm with you. I think eventually they're going to need to be recapped. Those 1647s never... 4716s, 4716s. The 47 microfarad 16 volt, jobbies that Apple loves to use. Yeah, I don't think they're going to last. I don't think they're going to last super long. What else? Yeah, Jack68K says, unlike the earlier auto-inject drives, usually worked except for the cheese gear. The later manual inject ones seem to be more hit or miss. Yeah, they seem to be just lower quality drives in general. That was my opinion of them when they were new. I didn't like them, and that seems to have borne out in passing years. Yep, and the IBM Mac disk. Yeah, Joe is here. Hello, welcome to the stream, Joe from Joe's Computer Museum. Says those printers are cheap and reliable once you get them dialed in. They super are. They super are. Yeah, there you go. Gutbomb says, I power a Raspberry Pi with one of those buck converters off of my Ender 3 V3 SE. Yeah, they're super nice. And like they come in packs of 3 for like $10. Why not? Nice, nice. Joe says I have a newer Max Power G4 in a 7200-200, which is the younger sibling of this one. The 7200 wasn't that the early 7200s at least were like designed to not be upgradable, weren't they? Like there was nowhere to put an upgrade card. Unbelievable. Yeah, Joe says it was the worst waste of money ever. I love it. Nice. Nice, nice. Very good. Very good. Okay, I need to go wash my arm off here because it's gross and actually I need to use the bathroom, so I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Ta-da! Probably mute this, huh? Ta-da! All right, we're back. Awesome. So yeah, there's got a little dirty laundry in this machine. I did originally have I'm not going to touch this again. I did originally have a BL Touch on this thing, and I never ended up using it, believe it or not. I got this thing to the point where I could level the bed pretty reliably, just doing like, doing a skirt around the print, like 4 or 5 lines. Usually by the end of the second line, I'd have the bed dialed in, and then it'd be good. It'd be fine for like a month and a half, 2 months. So even though I wired in BL Touch wires into this thing, I didn't end up using them. These are, well, the whole thing's gonna have to come apart, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Let's see. Move this thing around and try not to knock everything over. Don't need this anymore. It's not where that goes, but okay. Let's move this out of the way. Just there. Oh yeah, so many screws. Separate my screwdriver bits from my screws. Alright, so just touched it, God. Move this over so y'all can see. So you're looking at the front of it. I'm working on the back, but mostly it's just popping this drag chain open. And yeah, these were just prints. I just printed these on this printer. The number of printable upgrades you could make for this machine was just incredible. Get the feeling I might need to reprint some of this drag chain. That's going to be super fun. Okay. So that gives me access to here. What did I do for routing this? Oh, I routed this way. That's it. That makes sense. So the way the drag chain works, at least on the x-axis here, is there's a part right here that you can't see, but it screws into the back of the x-axis. You can see there's one little piece of drag chain there. So this screws in there, and then you just attach however much chain you need to accommodate your wiring. So then these just make a free-form turn around underneath. The rear chain is actually just adhered to the back on the stepper motor for the extruder. I just have like a piece of clear double stick tape on there. It's not VHB tape, but like it may as well be. It's really strong. Get rid of it here. There we go. It's got provisions for like mounting it with actual screws. So like there's the mounting backplate for the vertical drag chain. I just never bothered to screw it in because like you gotta take the screws out of the stepper motor and then screw them in this, and I'm like I don't want to mess with my stepper motor. No thanks. And it's worked pretty well, just using that double-sided tape, because it was very strong. Very strong. Alright, so we'll pop this open. Oh boy. I'll have to go find that later. One of the downsides to doing this is most of the cables that come with this machine just aren't, they're just not long enough to keep the motherboard in its stock location, which is at the front of the machine. You can see here. Whoops. You can see here on the front that it's missing that the motherboard at the front. It's supposed to be right here. I relocated it to the back. Probably can't see it, but it's right here, hidden by everything else on the screen. But I've relocated the motherboard. It just didn't have enough length for the cables connecting to the main board. It wasn't a huge problem, except that I didn't realize that I needed to relocate the motherboard until I was putting the thing back together, and it was like 75% assembled, and I realized that the motherboard wasn't going to go where I wanted it to go. So I sort of panic designed and printed the motherboard tray and mount here. Some more cable chain. This is the part that is no fun. That's not true. This isn't the part that's no fun. It's putting it back together that's no fun. A connector in here. So just one big. That's just one super long Noctua branded fan cable. Okay, yeah, so alright. I just used one huge Noctua branded fan cable for this. That's gotta be the part that actually failed. I'm gonna test it in a minute here. Oop, I missed one. Oh yeah, no, it's not just one giant one. There's the connector. Alright, well I should test this and see if it's this cable or the lower cable. Keep the clippers away from the thermistor wire. Okay. Let's see. It's gotta be this one. It's gotta be this one, right? Oh yeah, no, that's totally this one. Look at that. That is a fan that's not spinning. Well, that's easy. Come on, let go. There we go. Let's double check my fancy replacement fan cable. Oh, it's a 3-pack. How nice. They already feel goopy. Why? Alright. So let's get this plugged in. See if this is indeed the problem. Hey, look at that. Ta-da! There it is. Alright, so that's the hot end cooling fan sorted. Cool. Cool. Get it? This is way, way longer than the other one. This is twice as long? This is twice as long. I wonder if I could run this all the way back to the motherboard. Hmm. Hmm. Maybe. Like I said, reassembly of that is gonna happen off screen because I don't wanna bore everyone. Okay, so fan wires for the part cooling fans, which are going to become a single part cooling fan. This is, I'm just gonna clip these and resolder them. I'm gonna grab my soldering iron. The soldering iron's not hard to find. I've got this nice little 3D printed stand for my soldering iron, but power supply, on the other hand, is that it? I need my power supply for my soldering iron. Oh, too much stuff up here. 'Fan splitter, that should be with the other fan splitters. SD cards, SD cards. 19 volts, 2 amps. Yep, that is for this. Okay. Oh, the camera's right where I need to plug this in. Of course it is. Oh, let's see. One sec, guys. I have to move you around a little. Go. Bring this back. Yeah, it's better. You can see the See the PS2 in the background that I have meant to do a thing on and I haven't gotten around to. Come on, let me focus. There we go. Okay. Soldering iron. Throw a tip in here. Grab my solder. This is going to be near where the user is, so this is going to be the nasty lead-free stuff. That's fine. It's only nasty to solder. Significantly less nasty to have in your environment. Alright. Glad to know that those heat shrink tubes worked well. I need more heat shrink. Let's see. That. Short, we'll leave that one out there. It's a little more sizable. We'll use that one. Oh, where did I put my heat shrink? That's where my heat shrink is. I thought that's where my heat shrink was. There it is. There's my heat shrink. Okay. Need okay. Very well organized, as you can tell. Lighter get. Ta-da! Okay. Oh. Trina says, speaking of upgrade cards, I'll be contacting you on Discord tomorrow. Well then. Joe says, my ender absolutely required the BL touch leveling on every print. No idea why. Bad bed springs or something. That's the thing, right? The bed springs are the worst part. The ones that they ship with it are too weak to keep the bed in place while it's printing. You know, because the bed starts moving around, right, during a print, and it just ends up, you know, shaking the bed springs out, which just backs out the screws. Oops, that's too much. And you got to get the upgraded bed springs, which sounds silly. Like, why are our bed springs an upgrade? And it's like, well, because you know, it's the same reason you put the all metal extruder on the Ender 3, because Creality decided to ship it without one. My original extruder for this thing lasted, I think 6 months? 7 months? I went to tighten it down to get some better grip on a spool I was printing, and it just completely snapped in half. It just crumbled away, just like spindler plastics. And that was the end of that extruder. Oh, let's see. My cheat sheet here. Yellow is positive. Okay. I cut this, black being too short. So I'm going to cut red short on this side. So I meant to say, that was the caveat with my, I level it and it stays level for a month or two, because I have the upgraded bed springs on this thing. Once I did that mod, I didn't feel the need for a BL Touch. It just worked. It just worked. Todd Howard voice, it just worked. All right. Put these two together. There we go. I always forget how to turn this soldering iron on. Every single time. Terrible. All over my tip and nothing on the wire. Love it. Now it's on my desk. Do, 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 do. Worthless. So jealous of people who seem to get wires to flow together so effortlessly. Well, that's fun. That's a burning sound coming from my soldering iron. Good. Good. That one's toast. Alright. Well, we're going to twist them together and heat shrink over them. Because this thing needs to be finished. Okay. Just wrap this together and didn't put the heat shrink on first. I'm doing well tonight. This is why I usually don't stream right after work. My brain is fried. But it's also why I don't get a lot done during the week. In terms of anything, video making, creativity, my brain is fried. Heat shrink. Beautiful. Now let's get the other one. Yep, cool. All right. That'll do. Maybe a little bit more. Nope. I suppose a smart thing to do would be to test it now, make sure I didn't completely break it. Come on. That's a good sign. Fan beeps. Let's see. I want. Can't see it from this angle. Looks good. Not broken. Cool. Fantastic. Pun not intended, but I'll take it. Okay, so we've got one cooling fan. We've got a replacement cable that I need to run in here. Yeah, this was the worst part. This part of the cable tie, or this part of the cable chain was the worst part, for sure. So you gotta do it flipped over. You have no clearance, and there's so many wires running through this chain. Oh, everything's broken. Garage here. Hello. Move my very hot soldering iron away. Maybe not on top of that. It's a little precarious. Ah, Joe says my extruder lasted the life of the printer. Weird. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't break. I don't know. Mine was made out of just the worst, nastiest like cheese plastic. It was just useless. Totally useless. Extruders aren't really supposed to do that. Everything's Broken Garage asks, Amber, what type of surface do you have your printers set up on? I just have them on a utility shelf. It's right there is just a big old like garage utility shelf, you know, the kind you can pick up at, you know, big box hardware store. To dampen vibration, I use, well, like the A1 Mini has its own like rubber feet on it that are pretty good at damping vibration. For the Ender, I printed, that's not one of them. I printed a set of hollow feet. So these are little feet that just click into the 2020 extrusion, like that. So obviously they click in at the bottom where you know the printer sits. But this helped a lot. This helped a lot with reducing noise and vibration from the printer. Highly recommend them. I will see if I can dig up the link to the print. I have no idea. I have no idea where it is. Most of my 3D printing stuff is on my Mac, which is not turned on at the moment and is not running the stream. So it'll be a little bit, but I can find it for you. In Jack 68 cases. Oh, now there's fire. Yup. Yup. Yeah, everything is broken garage. This is the X1. The Bambu Lab X1 is my new favorite tool in my classroom. It's the fridge of 3D printers. It really is. It just goes. You send it to print and it prints it. It's nice. It's nice. Yeah, I8386SX says equipment failure during stream is always a drag. Yeah, it's not great. Amber, are you, oh, Everything's Broken Garage asks, Amber, are you going to put links to the upgraded parts in the video description should we want to pick them up for ourselves? Yeah, I can do that. I've got these little fan shroud doohickeys should already be there in the description, and I can put the rest of the stuff that I printed out for this in there. As well as I can link to like the all metal extruder and the spider hot end and stuff like that too if you want to see them. Yeah. I don't have an affiliate thing set up, so I'll just have Amazon links. 80386SX says ABS plastic from 90s laptops. Exactly. It's what I was just dealing with the 8500. Yeah, that's true. Gutbomb says, I don't understand the vast majority of X1 carbon buyers after the P1S came out. Why pay $400 more for LiDAR and printing exotic materials you're never going to print? Plus, Gutbomb, you can get the hardened gear and or hardened extruder gears and the hardened nozzle for the P1S and print that stuff anyway. You just don't have the LiDAR. You know, who cares about the LiDAR? My A1 Mini doesn't have LiDAR, it does fine. Yeah, the P1S is enclosed, that's the thing. Yeah, I don't understand it either. I don't understand why people buy it. Maybe it's just brand recognition, right? Like, so many people got the X1 when it was the only Bambu Lab printer. That's what they see. Like, oh yeah, the X1 must be the good one. Yeah, Jack68K says Bambu's parts prices are surprisingly reasonable. They're reasonable enough that there are folks out there who've made like conversion prints to convert like a Bambu Lab hot end assembly to some other printer because it's so cheap. Like, sure, you're not paying 30 cents per nozzle for these nozzles, but like they're really good quality. They include the heater cartridge in them, and like they're only what, like $10? $10 versus 30 cents is a pretty big comparison, but like they last a really long time, and they're very high flow. It's better than buying nozzles for a Revo. That's the weird part. And Joe says I like my LiDAR. You can have your LiDAR. I just don't understand why you'd have it on a printer. It always seemed like a gimmick to me. Alright, so we've got that plumbed. I need to get the rest of this thing torn apart. Oh, I hate this. Distracting myself with chat because I don't want to deal with this drag chain. Oh, I hate it. It's so cool. It's so cool to have all of your wires enclosed in this sweet drag chain, and then you gotta do maintenance on the drag chain, and it's just, well, it's a drag. I've been waiting all stream to make that joke. Definitely need to be careful of thermistor wires in here. They're running along, right along the side, where I want to prise up the clips for the drag chain. Okay. That is the drag chain released. You can see, what's that? This goes here. You can see how much chaos this wiring loom is. Right, like it's just a bunch of stringy wires. That's why I did the drag chain mod, because it's either this or you put it in one of those Kevlar sleeves. It's still like, managing it is just a pain in the butt. Get rid of this BL touch wire. There. No more BL touch. Finally, the legacy of the BL touch has ended. Alright, this is... Oh, that's right. Soldering iron. Get out of here. You don't go through the wiring loom. Lose a bunch of stuff. Yeah, dude. Darn it. To pick that stuff up off the floor in a minute. Alrighty. So we've got a few things going on here, right? We've got, this is an end stop wire. We've got a combined wire for the X and Y, or sorry, the X and Z stepper motors. No, the X and Y is stepper motor, no. X and E stepper motors, that's right. We've got the X carriage and then the extruder stepper in this wire bundle. This is our connection from the buck converter for our fan. That's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. So all of this stuff. I think that the easiest way to run it is going to be backwards. So I can keep everything nice and tight and just run it all the way back from the hot end all the way through. Yuck. Yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Alright. So let's look at unplug power. Flip this around. We're going to look at the hot end. everything there wired up. Okay. Yeah, so we've got stuff like our cooling fan, our heater block, and our thermistor. So we're going to put this on here. Okay. So you can see how this this 5015 goes in here, just like this. Lining it up blind. I'm doing a very good job. There we go. Goes in like that. Just kind of hangs off the side. So that's going to be cable up that way, and then we'll go through there. Put the drag chain there. Then I think, yeah, let's get this stuff mounted up first. So I think the most fiddly part's going to be the thermistor. So the Spider hot end is designed to use a cartridge thermistor, which is nice because the cartridge thermistors are a lot more accurate, but I don't have one. This uses the old style, you know, bead thermistor. So they include a little brass tube that you can put your bead thermistor in to make it compatible with the hot end, which is nice. I have to straighten these wires out because they have spent a long time being bent and twisted. So we'll get in there. It goes into the brass tube. Probably put some heatsink goop in there too. Oh, and I think it's just secured by. No way. Alright, I'm gonna unmount the hot end because I don't know how the thermistor is secured. Size. So it comes with these longer screws, which is nice because you're going to need longer screws because it's a thicker hot end, unfortunately. Okay. Grab that. Oh, it's got a dedicated grub screw. Okay. Alright, that's not bad. So the bottom of the Spider hot end looks like that. These on the side here, these are assembly screws. I think they just hold the whole thing together. And then these smaller ones up here, these smaller screw holes here on the top and on the bottom, are spots for grub screws. I think these are these little guys, maybe? Nope, that's got a grub screw in it already. What about this one? Is that? No, that's not that. Cool, did I lose it? I probably knocked it on the floor because I'm amazing. Wait. Yeah. Oh, you're a grub screw. Do you fit in there? You do! Awesome. Alright, I'm gonna get this thing plumbed in here before I lose it. I think this was the grub screw from my previous hot end. I think this is the one that was holding in the heater cartridge. Hey, that fits perfectly. Cool. Yeah, that'll go in there nicely and hold in the thermistor. Nice. Man, you can immediately tell the machining quality on this is so much better, so much better than the old Mark 8 hot end. Holy cow! The grub screws just slide like silk. Oh, it's nice. That is nice. Okay, so let's throw both of these things in here. So this is going to go on like this. There's the heater cartridge. You can see they go in this way if you look at the new silicone sock, right? So here's the new silicone sock. So it goes on like yay. It's got openings on this side for the wires. Cool. Okay. So let's get this. Let's get some gamer thermal paste in here. Okay. There. Need 3 hands. Might throw a little thermal paste in this too. Not grab. Take the towel. That was dumb. There we go. And we install this thing onto the X carriage. We should then technically be able to melt some plastic. conceptually, doing these upgrades, not really difficult, you know? It's just really fiddly. There we go. I think that's pretty much it. Drop this on here. Whew. Talk about an exact fit. Dang. Alright, so that's there. And screws for the end of that. That should be 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the guys. There it is. Joe's Computer Museum asks, how fast will the printer be when you're done? So my goal is to get it, it's obviously not going to be as fast as like anything with Clipper or equivalent, you know, input shaping and pressure advance, because it's just, the prints are going to look like garbage, right? But I got it up to, you know, pretty close to like A1 mini speeds. It wasn't like right on, but like I've got a set of mini test benches I'll be launching soon, and they print in default settings. They print in about 4 hours on my A1 mini. And if you tweak the settings and like you use the 0.6 millimeter nozzle, they'll print in 3. On my Ender, before I shelved it, I was able to get these things to print in 6 hours. They looked a little rough, mostly because I was having extrusion problems, because the Mark 8 hotend just couldn't keep up with it. But you know, I got close. My goal is to get back to that speed of about 6 hours for one of my test benches. So not like A1 or A1 mini speeds, but fast. Right? I think if you drop one of these onto a stock Ender with the stock presets in Cura, I think they say it'll take like 14 hours to print or something. So, you know, having that time, that's pretty good. I feel like it's pretty good anyway. Okay, so this secures with 2 screws. The biggest challenge is remember which screws those are. I think. Is it these little guys? I may need to get new screws, which is fine. I've got a bunch of screws here. So So this is going to need to go in. Oh no, are you kidding me? You know what? I've got clippers. You see what's happened here? So I went to go put this hot end, or this shroud on here, right? The wires are already there. And there's a thing in the way. You're supposed to like fish the hot end or the heater cartridge and the thermistor through this shroud and then plug it in. Nah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Yeah, I'm sure this like compromises the integrity of this fan mount. I mean, it does kind of, but who cares? It means that you don't need to like fish these really delicate wires through here. They can just live in this space where they're supposed to be anyway. Okay, come on, get in there. Give this a little bit of a pre-bend up and out of the way. What's the problem? Cool, what is it banging on here? It's hitting on something. What? How are you suddenly not large enough for this? You fit fine before. I used the wrong screws. Nope, there we go. There it is. There it is. It fits very precisely. Okay. Alright. So I need screws that go in there. Oh, what size are those? Not these. These are too small. Yeah, those are too small. Okay. Where's my collection of screws? Fives. Connectors. Nut collection. Where's my screw collection? Springs? Oh, it's literally all M5 screws. Where did my screws go? Oh, they're on the freaking desk right in front of me. Okay. screws. All the metric screws you could ever need. Okay. Okay. Having fun yet? All right. Hope these are the right size screws. I just assumed I had the right size screws, and maybe I don't. Oh boy. That's not the right size. I think that's not the right size either. Don't think that's the right size for that spot. Well, they've got to be M3. If they're not M4s, they've got to be M3s, right? They're real wiggly. I don't think these are long enough to get through this 3D print. They're not. That's not great. It's too long. What am am I gonna do? I think... So my issue is, I don't have long enough screws. This needs these two mounting screws here. And need M3 screws, which I have a plethora of, except in the correct lengths. I have these little tiny ones, and I've got these significantly longer ones that are much too long for this. I don't think we're putting this thing back together this stream. Oh, this is the worst part about tinkering with a 3D printer. You go and you try and fix it, and then you realize you need a whole bunch of stuff that you need to order, and you don't have any time left. Meanwhile, your 3D printer is just sitting there broken. Alright. Well, I have a backup plan for this in case I wasn't able to get the Ender 3 up and running in time, because I'm leaving for this shindig this weekend. I don't have enough time to get a part, like, shipped in here. So I think I'm just going to do my backup plan, and we'll come back to the Ender 3 later. And Joe says Home Depot. You know, I have tried to get metric screws from, like, local hardware stores. Nobody has them. You'd think as soon as 3D printers became a thing, like, hardware stores would be like, yeah, we should carry M2, M3, and M4 screws. But they don't carry them. Yeah, for real. For real. That's the thing, Joe. Joe says find an ace or a do-it-best. I've tried. I have tried. I have failed. That's why I ended up buying this, like, giant collection of screws off of Amazon, because I could never find them locally. They just never had them in stock. Gutbomb says, woohoo, I just turned a PS2 mouse into an Amiga mouse using an Arduino. That's awesome. That's cool stuff. That is cool stuff. Yeah, everything is broken garage says here in Canada they do. Yeah, well, of course, right? Y'all have metric up there. You wouldn't believe the selection of, like, Imperial SAE, fasteners and bolts. Incredible. Incredible. Everything from, like, the bolts they use to, like, bolt down a overhead power line pylon, all the way down to, like, what should really be a metric equivalent, because you're talking like 1/32 of an inch or whatever. But the metric selection is always like a quarter of that. It's always bad. It's always bad. I would always take metric fasteners over SAE. So, stream. What are we gonna do? Let's take another look at that that Power Mac. Let's go here, and then here. It has finished copying things. It was downloading things from Ron's computer videos. Thank you, Ron. And eject those servers. Excellent. I don't need that or that. Let's see. I think I installed Classilla on here, but I haven't rebooted yet. Maybe I haven't installed it yet. There's no installer, just drag it in. Awesome. What is the README? Cool. That's fine. You're gonna go onto the drive. Alright, I'm gonna give this a reboot because I've got a couple of system extensions in here that I want to try on it and play around with it some more. Everything is broken. Garage says 1/4, eh? Don't you mean 6.5 millimeters? Don't mind the weird banding. That's my VGA to HDMI is slightly out of phase with the VGA signal from this thing. Jack68K asks, do you have a Menards in your area? I don't know. I don't know if there's a Menards out here. That's worth a shot. I think I'm still going to do my backup plan, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to fix this Ender 3. It's just going to be a little bit. Yes, we've got Kaleidoscope. Excellent. Haha! Drag any window is working. Excellent. From 0 to ruined in 30 seconds. Yes. Let's make it look like a B-box. There we go. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. The real use of PowerPC 604E. We'll run all the silly kaleidoscope themes really quickly. Look at that. Look at that. That's not a ridiculous scheme at all. Heck yeah. Love it. Ah, antique. Is that it? Oh, we've got the fake System 7 theme. That's here. We can make macOS 8.6 look like System 7. That's just wrong. Ah, I love it. Doesn't seem to be working. Seems to be not working. Everything is broken, guys. This is frogvine.com. Yeah, it doesn't seem to like load anything. It's weird. I tried Netscape 7 on this as well, and it pops up a blank dialog box and then just doesn't do anything. You close it and it quits. So far, the newest browser I've gotten to run on this is like IE5, which is sad. DNS, it's always DNS. Oh, we'll give it a try. I'll see. IE works. If we go to frogvine.com. Yeah, see, IE5 works. Isn't it good? Jack68K says, I love that BOS theme. It's really good. Of course, Microsoft has to be Microsoft. They use a non-standard handler for dragging windows, so like drag any window doesn't work in IE because Microsoft has to be Microsoft. Why? I wonder if it's because it's Carbon. I wonder if it's because it's a Carbon app. I think it's a Carbon app. I bet that's why drag any window doesn't work. It doesn't actually use the toolbox. So IE5 works. This is the Umax Supermac image from 1-bit Fever Dreams that I originally tried with my old PowerMac 7200. Didn't work super great because the 7200 75 just didn't really have the oomph to run 8.6. This thing does not care. It just flies on this thing. Let's do. Have anything interesting on here? Games. What's in here? Hey, we've got Quake. Let's play Quake. Oh no. Really? It sets an unsupported resolution? What? I'm sorry, what? Why does this set an unsupported resolution? There we go. Okay, that's better. This Quake port is so bad. Okay. Colors are funky. Let's do, why do they had to implement this into UI? There we go, that's better. Keys are set to something stupid? Yes, they are. Step left, step right. Jump only space, attack, whatever. Okay. Oh, why is it inverted? Ugh. Who made this port so bad? There we go. Alright. Now we're playing quick. That's more like it. Oh, jeez. Really? Let's see if it'll give me this. Oh, yeah. No, give me that one. Thank you. Yeah, okay, game. I run out of ammo, you give me the best weapon in the game. That's fine. Got no issue with that. It runs pretty well, but I'm surprised at how choppy it is actually. Because like, if you played this on a Pentium 233, like this would be silky smooth. The only thing I can assume is that it's this terrible, terrible port. It's really bad. It's really bad. It makes me wonder, like, did they take the source and just like comment out all the x86 assembler and just use the fallback C routines for everything? gotta be what they did. Unfortunate. What are the keys set to on this? Well, that's not terrible. All right. Oh, what is with the number of sound effects? Two? Good lord. This is running... I think this is running in 400 by 300 doubled. I don't think this is running at 640 by 480. Or 320 by 240 or anything. Is there no crosshair? Oh yeah, there you go. 800 by 600. Was it I for crosshair? Yes. Still remember after all these years. 90 foot. There we go. Yeah, Duke runs fine. But like Duke's all integer, right? So I can use all three of those integer units. I wonder if that's the same team. Ported Duke that ported Quake. I hope not. Silverleaf Fin. Have a good one. Good to see ya. Oh, right. This is that awful port that doesn't have configurable controls. Oh. Gross. Oh man. The ports, the game ports that the Mac got back in the day were atrocious. Jeez. Ifrit 05. Yeah, that's right. The unregistered bench cam is in full effect. Any suggestions on a cheap 3D printer? Honestly, the current the cheap Ender 3, the current one, the Ender 3 V3 SE, not a bad printer. Honestly, not a bad printer. I think they've got it on sale right now. It's something like 180 bucks, maybe. I'd say probably the only thing to do with that printer is replace because I think it comes with a magnetic polycarbonate bed. I just like toss that and get a PEI, a magnetic PEI print sheet instead, because you just save yourself a lot of time and a lot of headache. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, no, it's I know several people who have one and they really like it. It's a decent printer. Yeah, pretty much. Everything's broken garages. I think it's more of a standing on the precipice screaming why era of Mac ports. Yeah, exactly. So bad. Oh, all right. So I think I'm gonna call it there. I can't believe I've been done in by some screws, but don't worry, Kiddo's gonna get a 3D printer. Um, and we'll probably see this Ender 3 again. So no big deal there. Oh, it's the downside to working on them. You always think you have everything you need, and then you find out you don't. So frustrating. Anyway, I think if I go to here, and then, yes, awesome. So I think that's going to be it for tonight. It's been a 2-hour stream, not bad, on a Monday night. But yeah, I've got a video in the works, should be going out before I leave for vacation, so look for that. And yeah, I'm going to restart the video card videos, the Department of Rendering. It's the last one, that voodoo video, everybody loves it, and thank you for all the positive comments. It really helps. It really helps push up my self-confidence. But boy, it really just kind of ruined me to make. It was just so hard. Gonna flip the script a little and go back to an easier card for the next one, and then we'll dig back into like the Matrox mystique and the original 3D Rage like I wanted to. Thank you. Now, E305 says, have a great vacation. And Jack68K says, good luck with the Ender 3. Thank you. I think I'm probably going to need it, but I've been in this situation with this printer before. It has been this torn apart before. I'll get through. I appreciate the vote of confidence, though. Everybody have a great night, and I hope everybody is doing well and is being well. And may, as usual, may the PC parts be ever in your favor. Have a good night.